Okay, so today we're gonna throw back to our old masterminds, right? So in our old masterminds, what we used to do is we used to go around the room and everyone would throw a conversation topic up, whether it was something they were having an issue with, something they wanted more information on. And then we would all choose which topic we would handle and we would go down the line and we would kind of round robin anybody who had something to say about that particular topic could jump in and share their knowledge with the group, right? Which truly is what a true mastermind should be. All of you guys are masters in your own business, and so sharing your knowledge together was is the point. Uh, so that's what we're gonna do today. Give me a topic. Who wants to go first?
I want to I want to tell you about the house I sold last night. Maybe this is a topic, maybe not.
All
Because I'm
right, go
old and
ahead.
maybe you guys know this stuff, but I don't. So I only just searched the MLS. My client sent me a list and said, I want to look at this. It was on Zillow. So I clicked on it and I'm like, oh, I'm going to look on the MLS. And then I see it says for sale by owner, but it had on there, it says, we'll work with agents and their phone number. So I called them and I went and showed it last night and sold it. And I would have never known it was there because I never thought of looking at Zillow on there, like under that part. Because I thought if it was just for sale by owner, it would be like, I never thought there was a spot where it would say, we'll work with agents and
Mhm.
put their numbers. So I don't know, maybe you guys search that way. I've never searched for a house on Zillow for my clients. So I think it was important that I actually I think
So,
it was actually if they wouldn't have sent it to me, I would have never shown it and they would have called them. They could have called them easily and just said, hey, I want to do a deal, you know?
yeah.
So Vern, on that aspect, are you repping the buyer only on that? You just wrote
Yeah.
a,
Yeah,
that's
I just
it.
did a
And
buyer's
they
rep
they
and I
just,
wrote in, yeah, buyer's rep with 2.4, but then I put it on a purchase agreement, sent it to him and here to find out the kid did real estate for about 2 years. So he's gonna represent himself. I said, okay.
well, that's, yeah, okay. So I was just wondering where the seller stood in that instance.
Yeah, I asked them if
'Cause-
they wanted any representative, and they said no. And I realized his name is his grandpa used to sell real estate in the area for years.
sure.
So then and I was in his garage, and there was about six lock boxes in there, the old ones that probably never got turned in.
Yeah, so you saw an indication that maybe
Yeah,
he had knowledge of real estate.
yeah.
So,
So I don't know if it's like a topic of an issue, but I just think it was kind of cool that now I'm like, oh crap, I never thought of ever going on there to look at for buyers a home on there because maybe they don't look on there. You know, maybe they're on realtor.com or something. I don't know if it shows up the same or not.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's a great conversation to have because there's definitely more. This is what's hard about the mastermind. I have lots to say about this,
Hmm.
right? But that is a great topic to bring up because especially with our inventory low at the moment, there are for sale by owners out there. And how do you find them? How do you talk to them? How do you do the best for your client?
And I think actually it was a really good price for what it was, with like almost 4 acres and a log home with a big garage and an outside wood stove. And I said, I'm like, this thing's a pretty good deal, you know, for actually what it was. I think if they would have had it on the market, there would have been multiple offers on it because more people would have seen it.
Hmm. And
so following up on that for sale by owner real quick, I had one that my client, same situation, but this thing is, whew, she's rough. She's rough. So I had called the seller and they're real standoffish. I'm like, you know what, whatever, that's fine. Let them think about it a little bit. They, didn't accept our offer, our verbal right away. And I'm like, okay. So we kind of let it sit for a week or so. And then my buyer came back and said, well, I contacted them and they are maybe willing to work with us. Can you call her again? I'm like, yep. And from that point, that phone call on, she's been wonderful to work with. So I have a
Mhm.
duel on that one, but
Mhm.
they finally realized they needed the help. Like, you need this electrical box switched out, like, so they took representation, which was really nice. Obviously I'm not doing any marketing on it, so I did it a little bit, cheaper because there's absolutely no marketing. The buyer found it. But yeah, same situation for sale by owner. I mean, I had seen it, but that seller was a little over their head, I think. So they appreciate my expertise. So,
mm, Yep.
Yeah,
And when they click on there, it said we'll work with agents. It's a lot easier
yeah.
phone call because then the people, I mean, they were in Mexico and they gave me the code to the door to go show it, So I mean, it was
Yeah.
actually there. It makes it an easier conversation than just
Oh,
calling a
yeah.
for sale by owner on. And I never knew there was that option of them like saying, "Hey, we'll work with an agent." So
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, good topic. Who has another topic? Anything you want to talk about? Something that's kind came up?
Well, you could
Chris,
bring up that agency thing that we talked about yesterday, Katie, when they don't
uh,
want to sign the damn thing. That
uh,
was interesting. I mean,
you're,
I don't know. We talked about forms, but that's
yeah,
something little.
buyer refusal,
No seller. There was a seller refusal.
seller refusal. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yep. Okay, that's a good one.
I have
Just
one
a
more
little.
about septic systems.
Yeah.
Yesterday,
Yeah.
I listed the property and it was listed prior and it was a 3 bedroom. But there's 5 bedrooms in the house, and I was like, oh, so I
Mm-hmm.
walked through anyways, and I'm like, I wonder why you didn't list it as a 5 bedroom. Then I was sitting there doing the listing with him. I said, I bet you it's because of septic, and so maybe it's just something to talk about to make sure people are actually checking that. And also, maybe I do this wrong. I don't know. He listed it as a 3 bedroom, didn't say nothing about it. He said 2 extra sleeping spaces. I listed it as a 5, but in the notes and the agent notes, I say septic is just compliant to a 3 bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously we disclose that on the disclosure too, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's any MLS rules on that or not. I mean, I've done it before like that, and I think it's okay because we're disclosing as they walk before they walk in there, but maybe there's
Yep.
some advice on the better way to do that.
Yep. That's definitely a good one. Um, I have one. I have a story about disclosures. Um, that will be very fun. And if you guys don't know, if you haven't paid attention, the state, the Department of Commerce in particular, has had a lot of enforcement actions recently associated with disclosures, and agents not having their clients disclose, agents not disclosing, agents assisting their client in filling out the disclosures. Some agents who just filled out the disclosures themselves. Don't do that. Just FYI, don't do that. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Anyone
Tom, how
been
about,
through like oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, that's
One
okay.
more,
Go ahead.
lead-based paint, like where the state came in and did tests with a Q-tip. Has anyone been through that?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun. Okay.
Yeah, it's done already. It was done in 2019, but I had to pull the report and so the kids that lived there actually had pico. Do you guys know what pico is? Where they
No.
eat other things besides food, like dirt, the wall, their hair. Yeah, the
Yep.
children, and they related it back to, they were eating the wall that had lead-based paint on it.
Ooh.
Now, how they fixed it was they gave these children iron, I think. They still have like autism and things, but isn't that interesting? I've never been through that.
Oh, yep.
So,
That's scary, especially as a parent. Um, Regina, how about you? Do you have any topics that you would like to talk about?
Sorry, I had to come off mute there. It's a little loud in the office today. Um, I didn't come prepared because I wasn't sure what this was going to be all about, but
That's okay.
you know, as somebody who was out of the game for a year and a half and is getting back into it, I'm always curious to know what other agents are doing for lead generation
Mm, absolutely.
because it's a tough market up here with 1,000 agents running around. So
Mm, big
that's
diff. Yeah,
one of my big problems.
we think we have competition in our smaller markets. And yeah, Regina's up against literally 1,000 agents in the Fargo Moorhead area. Hmm.
And most of them are really, really intelligent human beings too. So it's
Yes.
It's great. That's that's
Perfect.
that's my big thing.
Okay. Love it. Who else haven't we talked to? Keegan, what you got?
There we go. I would say like relaying pricing strategies to sellers so that they hear it and don't just automatically think that their house is worth 50,000 more than what the market is saying. And how do you relay that so they hear it instead of just going to list with someone who's willing to price wherever they want it?
Good
Mm-hmm.
one.
Uh-huh. I think everybody's having issues with this one right now. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a good one. Tom, how about you? Any topics you want to cover?
I really like Keegan's. That one
That one?
I can feel like I struggle with a little bit.
Okay, absolutely. Um, Darcy, Christine, Chris, anything you guys want to throw on here to talk about?
No.
Okay. Um, Perfect. Well, so far, since we've had two votes for this one in particular, the relaying pricing strategies to sellers, do we want to jump into this one or do you want to do something else quick? No? Sounds good. Hearing no dissents, we shall move forward. Um, okay. What are you hearing from your sellers? Let's start there. So the whole goal here is to make sure that your sellers understand that by overpricing their home, there is a likelihood that their home either won't sell at all, will sit on the market for longer, and will eventually get less of a price than they would have if they had priced it correctly. So what are you hearing from your sellers as objections to putting the price where it should be?
They want to test the market to get what they think it's worth, is what they're saying.
Okay. How about you, Tom? You said you're having problems with this one too.
They just want more money or think it's worth more.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna put greed here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
it might not always be greed. It might be that they need that to be able to get to their move-up house, right? So it might be they can't sell this one unless they get this price. So I get that, but we're gonna put greed for here for now. Um, Perfect. Ashley, you and I had talked about this yesterday. What are you hearing from your clients?
Well, I just tried to get them down on a price reduction yesterday, and I brought up, it's costing you 320 bucks on HOAs. It's costing you property insurance. It's costing you $200 for your mortgage interest. All of this could be solved.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I brought this up. So how much is that a month? Probably 700 bucks a month. Okay, she just feels like she's coming into the spring market now. They maybe put it on the market last fall and it wasn't the best timing. So she feels, and then she responded this morning, nope, we're going to stay where we're at. I have spent, not kidding, probably 2,500 bucks easily. I'm on my third open house. Um, and I did another market analysis yesterday. I'm pointing out these things right to her.
Right.
It's like they just don't get it. So it's
Uh,
frustrating.
it
Hi,
is
Bob.
very frustrating. Bob says hi. You
But
can't
it's
come to
just,
the
yeah.
actual meeting.
And I
Um,
then she's worried about Iran and what's going on in the world, gas prices. And I'm like, well, there is another reason why you should be dumping this and getting going. Move on. It's a secondary home. It's not even her home.
yeah.
It was an investment deal, and they just think it's worth so much more. So it's frustrating.
Okay. Vern, are you hearing the same kind of stuff from your clients?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I just had this listing though that it's a perfect example of this because they're like, oh, well, I went and looked at it and they said we want 6.25. And I knew right when I walked in, I said it's 599. And then here's one thing to maybe help everybody too is if ask them if they've had an appraisal done lately. Because a lot of times they'd say, oh yeah, like this people said, well, yeah, last year they bought a piece of land from me, they refinanced the house. And I said, All right, I'm at 599. You're at 625. What was the appraisal last year or a year and a half ago? Well, 575. And then I said, you really think in a year and a half that your appreciation should be $50,000? And they sat there and they go, well, no. I said, well, then why do you think? And but you know what they said? They go, well, the banker said when we did the loan, you could probably get more for it. And I'm like, why? Again, and I said, is the banker professional? He gets the appraisal, and he shouldn't be saying that, because again, it makes our job harder. But sometimes you don't ask that, and I think it's important to ask, have you had an appraisal done?
Mm-hmm.
Because some of them have
Hmm.
refinanced or something, and then you can say, okay, then you have some bargaining power back to say, well, why do you think the market's so much better now than it was then?
Hmm.
Good
And
idea.
then
Thanks.
actually with my comps, it was perfect. They show, I mean, it was identical. There was ones that, I mean, there was 1,000 more square feet and they got 635. But a lot of my comps also started out where they started at 675 and then they got 630. One was at like 650 and they got 600. So I could easily show them, say, what do you want to do? This one's been on 100 days. Do you want to sit there that long? Well, no. So they agreed. I went there to list. I said, but the next day I went back and they said, I go, what do you think about the price? I said, we'll go with the 599.
Hmm.
So that one
Good.
worked out fine. But I mean, again, I think those are just the highlights that helped me through that one. Were asking for if they had an appraisal done.
It's a great idea. A great
Mm-hmm.
idea. Yep. Expect unfortunately, if the appraiser that did the appraisal before did a bad job and it's
Yeah,
higher, right?
yeah, yeah.
And
Well, I know,
and
and then you can ask them that
yeah,
too. Is like, yeah, did you do it to get your mortgage insurance off? Because they used to push up the price for that too.
right. It is
But
not a science.
no,
Yeah. Okay. That's a great one. What what other kind of topics could you bring up? I mean, we all know that it'll sit on the market for longer, right?
I tell my people a lot of times too when I was getting multiple offers, I tell them if you trust me and we market it lower priced, you will get more money. But I tell them if you start out higher, you're going to get less showings and less options of a multiple offer. And I could show them that again when last summer when everything was going for 30 to 50,000 over. I'd say, look
Hmm.
at that's every one of these are there. And then I'd pull up higher price listings and there would be a lot less of an increase on that compared to the like say at 599 compared to 650 there would sometimes be the same as asking price or maybe a step above but the one that was at 599 would get closer to the 635 or something like that so and most
Hmm.
people would they could start to realize that if we're lower we get a like a bidding war is going to become better than being right at the a little high and hoping for that price.
Yeah. Um, Keegan, what do you think? I mean, you're the one that brought this up. Have you done any of these? Have any of them worked?
Yeah, I would say talking about the days on market hasn't worked because they're not motivated, which is why they want to test the market, right?
Mm,
Because they don't have any sort of motivation to sell this summer. And if it doesn't sell before September, that's fine. They'll just take it off the market and try again next year, right? Like there's no motivation, so they don't care about days on market. They don't care about the cost that it's going to take to pay the mortgage and pay the taxes, and they don't care about that. So it doesn't work. So that's why I'm stuck.
okay. Have you tried an appraisal one?
Mm-mm.
And even if the
Okay.
appraisal is like 3 years old, you can always use that and say, okay, if you get an average return of even, like say 5%, say, or something, use a percentage and say, even if you get this, it only still equals to this after 3 years.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be as like this one. I just happened to be lucky enough. It was a year and a half ago, but if some, and then obviously, who knows where this market goes? It's always shifting because maybe back 2 years ago it was a lot higher because than it is now. I don't know. It could be,
Mm-hmm.
their appraisal
Mhm.
could be higher. It's getting to that point to where it's starting to level out. It could be a little bit tougher to do that, but
Yeah. One of the conversations that I used to have when I was in your situation, Keegan, was I would start asking them about their motivation. Why do you want to go through this? Why do you want to put your house on the market? Why do you want to keep it immaculately clean for all of these showings that are going to happen? If you're not realistic about selling it at a certain price, if you're fine with waiting until next year, wait till next year.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had that type of conversation yet?
Mm-mm.
So if you push them back towards their motivation of what they've told you in the first place of why they want, like Ashley had said, right? Get out from under this piece so you can move on with your life and you don't have to worry about Iran getting bombed. Um, if you pull it back to their motivation, that might, there's no silver bullet.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I would say the other hard part too is like the fact of like if you once they know your number, like that's like some sellers that's all they care about, and it's not necessarily like your strategy on how you're going to get it sold or the days on market or like any of those conversations. Like they see the number, and like I feel like I've had like in the last year I've had two different CMAs where they'll like say that they chose a different agent, and then like you call them or text them and ask them like, hey, just checking to see what like swayed your decision. And like there's not even like an opportunity to have these conversations, I feel like. Right, like that's been an issue for a couple of them too, is that I feel like you tell them, you know, your strategy, you tell them what your market came out to, you tell them all the stats, right? And you give them all the information, and then they just make up their mind given the information, and there's no like objection to work with because in their head they've already decided that they're not working with you.
Yep. Just went
Yeah.
through that yesterday, Keegan. I hear you. I hear
Yeah.
you
So
clucking.
like it happened this week, right? And so I'm like, this is confusing because I don't know. I don't know what happened. And there's like no response to even like work from to have that conversation to bring up any of this.
Hmm.
You just want to learn, like as a younger agent, I just want to learn why I was not chosen.
Correct.
Why? I
Yeah.
want to know
Yep.
why.
Like we just want to learn. Yep. So
Was
it's
it
like
my
it's hard to
personality? Yeah.
handle
Personality
objections
or
when you don't have the opportunity to even hear the objection.
yep.
Can I
Maybe
tell
you
you a
bring that up
secret?
at their bring that up at your market analysis. Say, hey, if we get through this process and you choose another agent, would you call me and could we talk and you could tell me why and be honest with you,
Mhm.
and say, hey, I'm gonna get mad at you. Everybody has a
Yeah.
choice, right? And I say, just
Right.
be honest with me, tell me what it is. That's what I always say when I first started. I'd lose tons of them, and I would sit there and
Mhm.
go, why? And I'd always put it on myself that I didn't do a good enough job. But then I'd ask them, and a lot of them would just say, oh, it's because of the price. And then I'm like, okay, so I got to work on trying to figure out how to make this price work. And that's a lot of times. Sometimes you take an overpriced listing when you're newer because you're like, okay, I need to get something rolling. But if you tell them, I just told them up front, I just, hey, this thing's overpriced. Don't expect a miracle. I'm going to tell you, we might get lucky. The thing that sucks when you say that and they get an offer and it's for that price, you're like, oh God. And they're like, I mean, and you're just like, put your foot in your mouth then. But I would say, you're probably not
Mhm.
going to get an offer. If you do, it's going to be less, but we can at least get something and it will educate you through the process of this. And it sucks to take an overpriced listing and do it. But again, sometimes you do that and you get buyers, somebody might call and then you make some money on that side of it too. And you
Mhm.
just educate. I mean, I'm not saying take everything overpriced, but if
Yeah.
it's a nice house, maybe it's something that would um it's something that you feel would draw a buyer to call you. Again, like the weed house of Tom's, it's like one of those. I wouldn't be overpricing it because
Mhm.
who are you going to get? Not a really good quality buyer that's calling, unfortunately. But
How about
Yeah.
a shit house? How much would you price that one for?
how much that one? Probably
Yeah,
like 89, 99.9 maybe.
really.
I don't know. I even went through it, so I just seen your pictures of the weed. But again, it's hard. So it's like one of those things where it's always hard to battle against it, and I always did it too. And then it's like, and sometimes you just ask them up front, say, I want to know why, and
Mhm.
yeah,
You did ask.
Mhm.
No
Ask them
response.
before they even make up their decision, right?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would just go through I would go through the thing and show them. Obviously, I don't know how you do your pricing. I mean, again, I don't know how you do yours, but I go through each individual because I do a comp where I adjust the pricing on each comp. So I say this line is their house, the next house I use as a comp, I have to adjust for square footage, the lot size. If there's an extra building, I do like three of those. I use three or four. And then as I'm going through it, and then at the end, it's at each one, they'll see the price. And then I watch them, see what their reactions are too. You can tell right away if somebody's like, oh boy, it's like that's way less. Or if they smile, there's like, wow, it's better than I thought. And then at the end, when I get to the end, I'll just say, I know you have if you're interviewing other agents, and I tell a lot of people, I say, interview some more people. It's like there's nothing wrong with that. I go, see if I'm right or not. If they want to argue with you, tell them to call three more agents. Get them all there. If all their pricing's the same, great. If one of them's higher, they're trying to buy the listing from you. But if three of us are the same, now you got your answer. That's what the market will bear. And then I say, and then at the end you can say, and call me back once you get those done so we can discuss it. And you can ask them then, say, where were those other agents at? I think that's a good way. And it's hard to say, go call somebody else and get some opinions. But to me, that shows honesty, right? They want people have trust in you because you're saying,
And
hey,
confidence.
I'm not the only one here. Let's get especially on a tough property when there's certain uniqueness and you have a hard time finding comps. There's nothing wrong to me to say, call some other people and get an opinion. If you
Absolutely.
find out who they are, though, you call them and tell them, make sure it's this price. No, just kidding. But I do think it builds trust with your client. If you are able to say that to them, I think people will definitely say, well, you were honest with them. And if you don't get the listing the first time, maybe they'll come back to you the second because they realize that and they screwed up. So
Yeah.
and some
Heartburn.
just won't swallow their pride and they'll never list it with you, even if it's for less money.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's a heartburn because the opportunities here in our market are not a lot. I mean, because there are so many agents, we're flooded with markets, kind of like Fargo is. But you don't have a lot of, not saying a lot, but you don't have many opportunities to strike out. You want the listing, right? So then you're so tempted to overprice it just to have it, and then I sit here with a buyer that or seller that won't move. It's just like, but yeah, I get what you mean, and I like that advice. So I just have to have more confidence.
And here's the other piece that I had to learn. So all those things that Vern said are absolutely on point. That was a perfect way to handle those things. But I also had to learn as a new agent to let it go, to move on, to not pay attention to the negative Nancy who decided not to list with me, even though they said I was wonderful, right? And just to move on. There are more fish in the sea. It's not worth my brain power at that point.
Your energy. Yeah.
Right.
Like focus on your clients who are under contract, want to work with you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The new one that
The more
walks
you
in the
pour
next
into
day.
them, the more referrals you get and all the things. So yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yep. But it's hard sometimes to let it go.
Yeah. And especially when you just kind of want to know if there's like one consistent thing that I'm doing wrong. Right. And I will say, like, it's not like it's an every time I'm going to a listing appointment, right? But I just want to know if there's one thing that the people that say no to me for, if like there's one thing, right? Is it the same thing? And then adjust it, right? And that's really what I want to do going forward. Like, I don't want to sit here and dwell on like the past listings that I've lost, but more so like moving forward, what do I do differently? What did they hear that they didn't like, right? And can I change?
As a newer agent though too, have you ever sat in and with an agent that's experienced that does it and listen to how they do it? Have you ever asked? Like if anybody ever wants to sit with me while I present an offer or anything, I would say, I don't care. Sit with me. You can listen to the way I do the thing. And then you get some pointers, right? It might not be your style, but you might catch something in there that would help. And I don't know if there's people in your office that are, like a top producer that you could say, hey, could I just sit with you through a listing or a CMA or stuff like that? And that might help.
Yep.
Yeah. Tom, how about you? You also said that this was an issue. Did this answer any of your questions? Did you get any nuggets from there? Or you've really been doing all this stuff and still having problems?
Um, I think the other thing that I've tried and it didn't work out so good, but when I would fill out like a seller's net sheet based on where I thought they should list it, then if it ended up being a higher price that they wanted to go with, then I said, okay, let's walk through that scenario, and I'd fill out the net sheet at that amount. And then I'd play like a little devil's advocate. If it sits on the market, then I'd fill out an additional net sheet for if they have to do price reductions. And then people, the negative of people seeing multiple price reductions is they come in with an offer below even where you're at after those price reductions. And then when they can see what net they're coming with in all those scenarios, and they realize, if we would have listened to you right away, we would have netted more money. But that they gotta really they gotta trust you first, and that's the biggest hurdle, I think. Like with Vern's been doing it so long that most of his clients you already have that trust when you walk in the door. So they're gonna be like, well, of course we're gonna listen
Mm.
to Vern. So you're fighting a different battle than like Keegan and I, and
Bird
if they
walks in
don't
and he
trust
doesn't
you right
even
away.
have comps.
He's got the crown on his head already.
I
Literally.
always try to though think back of when I was in your shoes and I sat here in this town and battled against Kenny Realty and I'd lose every single listing because I was young. And they'd say, and everybody would say, well, you're just a kid. What do you know? And so I did battle that. I don't
Yep.
like to do a net sheet up front when I'm going to list a property because then they go, what? I only get that because then they think you're getting all this commission out of there. So to me, that would scare me more to have a net sheet up front is I don't do a net sheet till they have an offer because then they're all happy about the offer and not as looking at all the reductions of
Oh,
price.
that's good, Vern. I like it.
Yeah. But I never give my sellers a net sheet. I say, hey, you're going to list at this. Unless they ask me, when I present an offer is when I bring the net sheet out and say, this is what you're going to get at the bottom with this
Mhm.
offer.
Mhm.
And I do like the three scenarios saying, hey, if it's lower and if I'm working just with the seller, I'll be like, okay, here's this price. Here's one a little bit higher, 15,000 higher. Here's one at full price. And a lot of times I can get them, so they'll say, well, that counter about, because I do it halfway in between. So if it's 650 or 700, I'll do a 650, a 675, and a 700. And then most people go, I'll go with that 675 number. And then that's right where I want it to be anyways.
Hmm.
So I'm making their decision for them without them knowing I'm doing that because most people say, well, I was planning on coming down some. That sounds perfect.
Hmm.
And
Once
most
they know
buyers
that.
are looking, if I offer this, they'll counter halfway and I win and and then they're a winner.
Hmm. And Tom, I used to do the same thing you do, where I did a net sheet at the beginning every time, and I would show them the difference. Based on national averages, a home sells for 10% less if it stays on the market longer than the average market time. And so let's do a net sheet with that. I absolutely did that, I, but I work, numbers work in my favor, right? Because of my age, because I'm a girl, because, um, numbers and information would work in my favor. Hmm. And it depends on the person, like Vern said, right? Some people are going to see that commission number on the net sheet and be like, "Holy crap, why that actual number? I thought we agreed at that two number. What happened to that two number?" Uh-huh. Okay, we've talked a lot about this topic. So let's grab one more before we have to break up for the day. I want you to take your little mousy thing and put it over whichever topic you would want to talk about. Can you do that? Did everybody do it? Oh, look there.
I think
Oh,
we're all
Somebody.
debating.
Ah, that's fair. Okay. Yep. Vern picked his. That makes sense.
What was the disclosure agent
oh yeah.
listed?
Agent assisted stuff. So I was going to talk
Oh,
about
that is a good story.
Yeah. What is
is
that?
it? Okay.
Do you want to
Uh,
just share the story quick?
Sure. So I'll share an abbreviated version of the story. So we had an agent in our Park Rapids office who had a very old sellers with issues, couldn't write on the disclosures. And we had always been told as agents, right? This was before we were crowned, always been told as agents that we could ask the seller the questions on the disclosures and fill it out for them as long as we disclosed on the disclosures that these disclosures were filled out at the by the agent at the direction of the seller, right? As long as we put that on there, that was fine. And the state had also said that to us. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. So lo and behold, the seller, as the agent was asking the questions, right? The seller didn't disclose a fire in an outbuilding. Buyers then bought the property, got angry, found out there was a fire in the outbuilding. The outbuilding's not usable now. They wanted it to be usable, bunch of different things. Truly, they did not have a case, except the agent, I shouldn't say the name, the agent could not prove that she had asked the sellers these questions and had answered the disclosures with the seller's direction. So she got wrapped into the disclosure issue. And it was a 3 year, 2.5 year court battle. And then the agent had to pay, the seller had to pay more. By that time, Mr. Seller had died. And so it was Mrs. Seller handling the rest of it. Just so you know, this property closed 1 year and 10 months before they filed the lawsuit. Guess guess how long you get to file a lawsuit based on seller disclosures after the
20
closing of the
years.
property?
2 years.
Here.
2 years. Yep.
2.
Yep.
And that's because they told somebody about it and they said, you can still sue.
I'm sure. Yep.
Otherwise, it probably never would have happened because otherwise, why would they wait that long? It should have been right away, So
Right. Yep. So here's my point. Do not put your pen towards paper on disclosures at all. Period.
Oh, God,
Just
no.
don't do it. It's not worth it. If your seller is old enough where they cannot fill out the disclosures, they don't have an email address, they can't do it online, get some kind of aid.
Find somebody else.
Their grandkid, their kid, their neighbor, literally anybody, not you. Here's the other piece. I know that online you can send the disclosures to them and it looks like you do it, right? On your side. Don't fall into that trap. It's not easier for you to do it because the seller can't figure out how to fill it out online. It will be more expensive for you later if you do something wrong. Here's the other piece. We as agents have disclosure requirements. Doesn't matter if our seller discloses or not. We have to disclose. So keep that in mind. If you can get your seller to disclose, that then negates your need to disclose, right? Because now it's disclosed. But if your seller says, no, I'm not disclosing that, like Vern, the septic system not being sized correctly, that's a disclosure. If your seller refuses to disclose that in the septic disclosures, you have to as an agent.
Yeah, and what's bad about that deal too is like I brought it up to the seller and they said, we don't know. Maybe. They don't know. Even though it was in the disclosures, they still don't know that's why it was that way. That's why it was listed 3 bedrooms. But I would
Yeah.
say about anything, even if you think about it, you list a 3 bedroom home, you just get a septic compliance, right? We always pull up an old one. But like yesterday I asked Chris, I'm like, it doesn't say just in plain language on there, this is a 3 bedroom system. It has the size of the trenches. And that's why I think it's important for agents to say, like I've called and said, what is required for this? How many length of trench? And then they'll say, oh, there's 3 trenches that need to be 50 feet long to be a 3 bedroom system. Okay, well, then I know on the map that it doesn't qualify for that. But
Yeah.
people add a bedroom to the house after they buy it without even adding on, and you don't realize that, and you just sell it, right? And then they get a septic inspection. It's not on there. Nothing, they don't note anything to you. They just do the inspection and say, for us anyways up here, we just get the inspection and it's like, yep, it's good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a
Because
way, then they say, well, why didn't you research? And I bought a system that wasn't big enough because they go get a building permit to add another bedroom. And all of a sudden, oh, you have a two-bedroom system.
huh? Because for those of you who don't know, a system can still be compliant. You will get a compliant septic inspection back, even if the system is not big enough for the home that's
Undersized
currently
for the
there.
home.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Which is why it's nice. We've asked all of our inspectors in the Park Rapids area to write in that other category on the bottom of the first page, um, that what the septic system is sized for. Doesn't change the compliance, right? But on that note, Vern, I think you marketed that correctly, right?
Good.
Yeah, put it as a 5 bedroom because it is a 5 bedroom, right? And if the buyer wants to ask for the septic system to be updated for a 5 bedroom, okay, fine. But an appraisal is going to appraise it as a 5 bedroom. Yeah.
So say they do nothing. So say Vern, it sits at a 5 bedroom, a family of 7 comes in, let's just say, and it sits at, still the 3 bedroom. What is the damage? Do they just pump more often?
It
What
might
is
work. It probably would work just fine. You don't know. It
right?
depends on, there's
It could
nothing
work
that
just,
it wouldn't
Oh,
work, but it could still work easily. It depends on the soil. If you get a mound, it's pumping in a mound. I would say you start pumping more water than there should be in that mound, it could blow out the side of the mound. But an in-ground system, it's either starts to come to the surface and they get a backup, or otherwise, most of the time up here, we got good soil. It will just keep draining. I mean, hell, I lived with 5 in a house with a 2-bedroom system for 30 years. And my
Of
wife
course he did.
did daycare with 10 kids running around, and the washing machine never stopped. I never had an issue with our septic because it was all sand. It just keeps draining, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
the risk is the fear of backup, basically, is
Yeah. Well, the
overuse of the
biggest fear is
system.
that they find out if they ain't disclosed, and they go to get uh, a permit of some sort, and then they say, "Oh, you need to upgrade your septic to a bigger system." Because, like, when I added on to my house, I just put down I was putting in a living room, but I added 2 more bedrooms, and because again, it goes by bedrooms, and which is crazy. You can have 8 bathrooms, but 2 bedrooms, and it's still okay. But to me, it's like they find out later because they want a building permit to add a bedroom, and then they say, "Well, you need to upgrade your system." And then the guy shows up, and instead of adding one run to the septic, if they can add a trench, now they have to add 4.
Mm-hmm.
You're just using that much water, basically, is what they're thinking.
Yeah.
so now your pump, I mean, you could maybe go through pumps a little more because it's pumping a lot more, because the holding tank maybe, for a 3 bedroom versus a 5 bedroom, I believe your holding tank has to be a little bit bigger for a 5 bedroom. So therefore your pump is going to be running a little bit more, but the system should be just fine. I mean, it just truly depends. It depends on the family and how much usage they're actually using, how many bath showers and loads of laundry are you truly doing? Everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
You have a bunch of boys, they don't ever use the inside bathroom, right?
Huh, they do in the winter. I know because I
Mhm.
clean the toilets. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we have about 10 minutes. Do you guys want to grab another one?
Shoot, I had something on my mind, but I don't remember now.
What did we talk about, that lead generation?
We really haven't. No. Do we want to talk
Yeah.
about that? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, somebody else.
Right? So lead gen. Keep in mind, this was Regina who asked. She's in a larger market. Um, and so what are you guys doing for lead gen right now? Let's break it up. What are you doing for lead gen for buyers? And what are you doing for lead gen for sellers? Nothing.
No one
We
generates
figured out the problem.
We figured out the problem. It's not the pricing conversations, it's the lead generation. Got it. Oh, good. Ashley, where do your
Oh,
clients come from?
well, sellers, what I'm trying, like in Listing League, we're doing letters, we're doing
Okay.
social media. I got my little stickers back at the coffee shop.
That's a good
You
one.
know, having those phone calls, asking for referrals, text messages. I mean, all of it. And you know what? One thing I did hear though was from my past, I don't know how many, 2 or 3 clients, they said, will always be our #1 realtor. I'm like, oh, that makes you feel good. So if they hear of anybody, I'm like, oh, slowly and surely I'm making my way. But
Yes.
it's slow and painful.
I think that's the
Um,
hardest part about this business is it's long term. And so you can hustle your
yes,
butt off for months and get very
yes.
little for your hustle, and it won't come until 6 months later.
Volunteer. I mean, I don't know, just be known in the community, be very active in your community. I mean, Darren's Rotary, so we do tons of Rotary stuff together, even though I'm not part of the Rotary, but they think I am. And they call me for Rotary versus him sometimes. I don't know. Just keep having those conversations that, whether you're sitting at the baseball park or,
Mhm.
and then just
The
follow up. That's my
important part
biggest
about,
thing. Yeah, go ahead, Vern.
I'd say the biggest part with all that though is being out in the community and that is they have to know who you
Yep.
are while you're doing it too. And
Yep.
so many people say, I go to this, I go to that. And it's again, did you tell anybody?
Yeah. Right.
But everybody feels like they were part of something, but nobody knew what they did.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Oh, Vern, I wish I had your ambition to stay out at 9 o'clock at night. I am well tucked in by 9.
Trust me, I'd have
I'm
rather
just
been doing
not
something else at 9 o'clock at night in town, but I was sitting here.
either. I'm at my house at 9.
Mhm.
I don't know,
Yeah.
anybody else?
Yeah. Keegan, what about you?
A lot of my business comes from social media. Some of it comes
Mhm.
from floor duty.
Mhm.
Um, I also get business from Blueberry Pines. I'm still serving there like just a couple nights a week, so I get business from that. Customers ask me all the time about real estate, so
How do they know you're in real estate at your second job?
um, I don't. Most of them see me on Facebook or Instagram or something of that nature, or like they see the office's posts, right? But I also talk about it, and not in like, "Hey guys, I'm in real estate. Hey, did you know what I'm in real estate?" Right? Like it just naturally comes up in conversations because there's regulars, right? Like they're literally there every single week, and so the more that I see them, the more that my face comes up and the more that real estates gets brought up. And so, yeah.
Can
Mhm.
you wear anything you want while you're at work, like a shirt with Cola
Sadly,
and your name on
no.
it? No?
No, I wish that
Darn it.
we could. We have like red polos with a Blueberry Pines logo that we have to wear. And it's so funny. And the other thing too, this is kind of like a minuscule thing, but we have to wear hair up. And I don't wear my hair up, right? Like I
Mm,
just don't.
yeah.
And I feel like I look different too. So that's kind of been a battle too of like, this sucks. Like I want to look like my normal self, right? When I'm at Blueberry, but it's
Does
all
your
good.
shirt have
They
your
still
name on it?
recognize me. It doesn't. Nope.
Well, can you have a magnetic name tag that you could
I
sneak on
should
there?
put one on,
Yeah, you
honestly.
put your name on there, but then underneath of it, you can put a little Coldwell Banker thing
There you go.
and then
Little
just tell
Mhm.
the
symbol.
owner says, hey, they need to know my name.
And you guys don't provide one for me, so this
Yeah.
makes it easy. Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great
Funny.
option. Christine, how
Otherwise, just
about
hand
you?
them their card every time you give them their bill.
Someone told me that one time, and I was like, imagine how many cards I would go through just at the
Yeah.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Um, do as many as possible open houses.
Mm, Yep.
you're new. Yeah. So, go sit. It'll help her learn the market also, doing the open houses. But yeah, it'll get that foot traffic through the door, especially for buyers. Just,
Yep.
just to have those conversations with buyers. But yeah, it's just staying in touch, doing the mailers, but staying in touch with your sphere of people, whether it be, family and friends, is a great place to start because then, they'll know, okay, yep, you're doing real estate, and then they may know a neighbor or a friend that's looking to sell and then can, refer you over to them. So it's that's a great starting point for a new agent. Just start with your sphere of friends and family. Make
The
sure they
trust
know.
is, yeah, trust is there already. So that's in your back pocket with those types of people.
Hmm.
Yep.
Exactly. Vern, how about you? Anything we haven't talked about
For buyers.
for either one?
Oh, I thought of something, but I forgot. Um,
He just shows up everywhere.
Just walks around.
Yeah, just wanders.
oh, and
Yeah.
I think too, so like what I did is I did a sponsorship for the Deer Hunters Association banquet they had up in at the Hallett. And instead of
Hmm.
just one thing I thought about when I went to it, just because they gave me a ticket for my sponsorship thing to too. But when you do those events, I think if you sponsor something, I thought about it afterwards. It's could be a good thing to show up to.
Mhm.
Not just sponsor, like how many things do we
Right.
do is I give money to everybody for some kind of a fundraiser, but I never show up to the event.
Right.
And then I thought afterwards, because they're announcing names of people that did the sponsorship, but I showed up to that and there was probably 500 people there, and I just walked around and it's like again, I know a lot of them, so I walk around and just talk and I just try to make a point. And if somebody's with somebody I know and I don't know them, I say, I introduce myself to them because
Hmm.
again, if they're friends with them, then it's a trust right away that maybe it helps remember them because Bob's buddy that I never met before, and plus you never know, maybe they're as soon as you say you're with Coa Banker or whatever, then they might say, "Oh, I've been looking for some land or something."
Yeah. And that happens on, there is no secret bullet in real
Mm-mm.
estate. There isn't. They need to know your name. They need to know that you're in real estate and they need to know how to get a hold of you. Phone number, email, whatever. That's it. The way to do that for them to get to know you is to get out there, talk to people, have your sphere, your family, your friends, promote your name to others, right? There is everybody in real estate and coaches will try to sell you this crap all the time. They'll get this perfect marketing plan that you'll never have to go to a community event again, right? Like it's a bunch of BS. It really is. You got to talk to people. You got to get out there. And the more you talk to people, like start small. The more you talk to people, the easier it gets, right?
Like
Um,
yesterday when I showed that house, I'm 10 miles north of Aiken, out in the middle of nowhere. And the neighbor was putting up a fence because the guy's selling a house. So now he decided, of course, so anyways, he drive by the Bobcat, he shut down. I said, "Hey," he goes, "How you doing?" Or whatever. I said, "Hi, I'm Vern." He goes, "Oh yeah, Vern Lewis." He goes, he knew right away my name. And this guy's out in the middle of a farm
Ashley.
field.
Yep.
And right away, but again, it's like maybe he drives by the billboards enough, or he just sees, yeah, once they keep seeing that name pounding in their head.
mhm. Yep. I need to know your
And I'm
name.
gonna rub your sweatshirt next time and take some of the energy off of you so we can.
Ah,
Like,
And make sure you have your own Google page, your own, Zillow
mm-mm.
page, your own realtor.com page. Those are starting points also.
Every place your name is that somebody can see it. Like I said, even if you put your cards somewhere, it just keeps getting pounded in their head, right? And then they'll remember that it's like they might have never met you, but they'll know your name. And that's the problem. People coming to me, "Hey, Bert, how are you doing?" I don't even have a clue who the hell they are. And then I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, how do I figure I don't that's the worst thing with me is I go, what do I do? Say, "Good. I'm sorry, who are you?" And then you feel like an idiot. So I just say, "Oh, good, how you doing?" and walk away, and I go to my chef or somebody and I say, "Do you know who the hell that is?" Or otherwise I'll go find somebody and say, point over, "Do you know who that guy is?" And they might tell you. So then you'll figure it out. But it does work. I mean, the name on stuff will get
Hmm.
people to know, even though it's just they don't realize it, that they're getting that put into their memory.
Like subliminal messaging.
Yeah, there you go. That's what the word, I can't use those big words, but
Hmm. Subliminal messaging. I love it.
Does that help,
Um,
Regina?
Uh, yes.
Good.
A lot of the stuff I've already been doing, but the stickers at the coffee shop, I just never would have thought of that. So, uh, that is
Will it
going
mhm.
lead
to
to
be,
anything? I don't know, but it's like you said, it's subliminal messaging, getting my name out there.
yeah.
Many
Mhm.
people had sent me a picture of them holding the cup with the sticker. The principal of the school grabbed my son and said, "Hey, look at this." So
Mm.
it's getting noticed.
When you
Anyways,
do those stickers, Ashley, is it just like you just give them to the coffee shop and like what's the process there?
okay, so I have to buy actually the cardboard holders. So I have to purchase those for
Okay.
Mhm.
$250. And I get like 6 boxes. I forget how many. She said how many were in the box, but that's how she does it for people. And then, yep. So I ordered. Oh gosh, Faith ordered me 7 to 8 thousand stickers, and they weren't that expensive. They were probably 250
Mm.
bucks. I mean, so for 500 bucks, that's what I have invested in the whole project. Now the coffee shop is very busy, so that didn't last me no more than 2 months through the winter. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Um,
holy moly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just the newspaper guy, the gentleman from the newspaper sent me a message. Hey, I got your cup, or see your face, or
Oh,
it
that's
hasn't
fun.
led. Yeah, it hasn't led to anything yet. But again, it's like Vern said, you're pounding it
Well,
into their head that I'm in real estate. This is my name, my face. So my little sticker is only about, I'd say, a 50-cent piece, a little bit bigger maybe. And then I don't know. I worked with Faith. She was wonderful. She designed them. She ordered them. Super easy.
Yeah. And through our, I mean, because we order swag all the time, so through our partnership, we get discounts, right? Which is probably why you got those stickers cheaper through Faith,
Yeah.
um, than
The big
elsewhere.
thing
Yeah.
too is the more they see your name, the busier they think you are. They say, "Oh, you must be the one to come to. I see your name everywhere, right?" That's it's all it's it's just a, what do you call it? It's
Like
like
psychological.
yeah, it's
Yes.
like when people see your name, they, and just like in town, somebody just said the other day, "Oh my God, you guys got half the town for sale." Everywhere I look, there's blue signs. But they told me that they think it's all mine. And that's the key again, having those agents out there working too, because everybody else, and then you get market share, right? Because everybody thinks, oh, or you're the guy because of all the signs. They just relate the blue sign to me because I do
Mhm.
billboards with that stuff. And so you're really taking business from agents that are out there. I feel it's like they're advertising for me now too, with putting their signs all over town because it relates back to me more than them. They don't drive by and look at the name on the sign, they just see the blue sign. So
Mhm.
Hmm. Okay.
Mhm.
Or
Well,
I
I,
like that coaster idea. Remember that coaster idea that Sean, or no, Vern, you brought that up. The where your beer sits on because you own the bar, of course.
no, I think Sean said that. I do the glasses at the bar with my name engraved in the beer glasses.
Okay. So Sean said the coaster deal for Regina. That's another good idea, Regina, is coasters at bar.
huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just would never even think of any of that stuff. That's great.
Mhm.
One
Good. I
last
love it.
one.
And I
Yeah,
love a
one last.
bar. So,
And the bars, we get those coasters for free from the beer distributors. But if you brought in a pack of those things and said, "Hey, here's some beer coasters for you to use," they're going to use them because we do.
Mhm.
They get, they get swelled up, so they get thrown away eventually. But they do reuse them. It's not like a one-time deal and we throw them in the garbage. We keep reusing them unless they get stained.
Mhm.
So yeah, talk to a local. If you have a restaurant that's busy or something like that, it's a good one for that.
I wonder if restaurants or bars would also take pens.
Oh yeah, they do. We do that at also. I bring pens to the our bar and the waitresses are using them. Yeah. Oberg fencing, a fencing company drops off a bunch of them all the time, or because the customers sign in the receipt, they take it with them, or otherwise they look at, a lot of people look at the pen when they go to sign. So.
Hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Some good ideas. Thanks so much.
Mhm.
Good. Okay. Well, we're 5 minutes over. I didn't want to stop you guys because you were throwing out really good ideas. I appreciate. But thank you guys coming. Did you guys like this form of mastermind stuff? Do I want to sprinkle in? Do you want me to sprinkle in this kind of forum? Every couple of masterminds? Yeah, Keegan says thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, you did a cool thumbs up. Wait, does mine do
How do
that?
I do that?
No, right? You
And
gotta
you gotta
put your
like
thumb
wipe
up.
it off too.
See? You're already smarter than me. I can't even, yeah, that ain't working for
Yeah.
me. So,
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll talk to you soon.
all right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.